Good morning. As we go to the Chitas of today, we are holding on the portion of Vayechi, and we are holding right now on the holding on the chapter 49, verse number 1. Yaakov called his children. And he told them, "Hey, Asu, gather. And I will tell you, and I'll tell you what will happen at the end of days." Rashi says, what was here that Yaakov wanted to tell them? Because legalis sakets, Jacob wanted to reveal to his children when Mashiach is coming. And the Shechina, the presence of God, he suddenly lost the presence, so to say, the presence of God, revelation. Suddenly lost his Ruach HaKodesh. And he started to tell them other things. And therefore, he continues on verse number 2. Gather and listen, the sons of Yaakov. And come and listen to your father, Israel, your father. Ruvain, you are my oldest son. You're my strength, and the first of my might. Yes, it says superior in rank, but yes, it is, and superior in power. Rashi says, Yaakov Avinu, he should really got married. And he was like closer to 75 years old. And Yaakov Avinu says that is his first drop of semen, for he had never experienced nocturnal emission. Yaakov Avinu never had any kind of relationship, and never either had any aspect of omissions of his seed. Oini is my strength, similar to found the power of oin. And Rashi brings places where oin means power. So you are my might. You're my first might. Yes, it's ace. You're high in rank. You are fit to superior over your brothers with priesthood. Yaakov Avinu gave his Reuven to be the priest. Ultimately, was taken away from them later on by the sin of the golden calf. The expression of raising your hand, the siyas kapayim. But yes, it is. The truth is, you should be kings. Kings should come out of you. What caused you to lose these things? Pachas kamayim maltesa. You have the restlessness of water. You shall, therefore you shall not have superiority, for you ascended upon your father's couch. And then you have profaned him who has ascended upon my bed. Yaakov Avinu here reminds Reuven what he did in the story of Bilah. Achas kamayim, restlessness, and the haste for which you hasten to display your anger, similar to water which hastens on its course. Altesa, and therefore you have no longer seen all these superior proportions that were fit for you. Now, what was the relentlessness that you exhibited? Yalisa mishkeve avichas chel. Rashi says that name that ascended my couch. That is the Shechina, which is accustomed to going up on my bed. Pachas is a noun, rest. Therefore, it's ascended. This is a Rashi. I mean, this is his grammar. Let's go to the next Rashi. Yitsui, my bed, a term denoting bed, because it spreads with mattress and sheets. And we find the Yitsui in other places is the concept of a bed. So Yaakov Avinu reminds Reuven of his why he lost his firstbornhood, so to say, of the strength of being the leader of the Jewish people. Verse number 5, Shimon and Levi Achid. Shimon and Levi, you are brothers. Lichamas mecharisem, stolen instruments are their weapons. Rashi says they were at one accord in their plot against Shem and against Yosef. Says, you guys together are trouble. So they said to one another, so let's kill him. Who are they? If you say it's Reuben and Yehuda, cannot be, because they're not agreeing to kill him. If you say the son of the maidservants, that cannot be, because their hatred towards him was not so unmitigated that they would want to kill him. Yosef befriended the children of Bilhah and Zilpah. So therefore they didn't want to kill him. So who are they? Who is they? Can't be Yehuda. So we're left with two guys, Shimon and Levi. And we have Yisachar and Zvulun. Yisachar and Zvulun, Rashi would never speak in front of the older brothers. So therefore, you're left with two guys, Shimon and Levi. These two guys together, put them together, and that's why we know Yosef, the Torah says before, Yosef separated Shimon and Levi. Put these two guys together, there's going to be action. The Rashi says, Kli Chamas, this craft of murder is in the hands wrongfully, part of Esav's blessing. You've stolen Esav's blessing. You've taken the craft of action, aggressive, too aggressive. What should they say him? She says, a term denoting weapons. In Greek, the word is machir. Another explanation, machir sayim, is the land of their dwelling. They conducted themselves and with implements of violence, like the dwelling places of their birthplace. Verse number 6, nafshi. Let my soul not enter their counsel. My honor shall not join in their assembly. Because with their anger they killed a man. And with their will, they hamstrung a bull. Rashi says, Rashi, this is the future story Yaakov Avinu foresaw, that the incident of Zimri was a story with Pinchas later on, when the tribe of Shimon gathered to bring the Midianite before Moshe Rabbeinu. And they said to him, is this forbidden or permitted? It says there, if you say it's forbidden, who permitted you to marry with Jethro's daughter? That was Zimri's argument to Moshe Rabbeinu. Let my name not be mentioned in that affair. Therefore, the Torah says over there, Zimri, the son of Salua, the prince of the father house of Shimon, but doesn't write the son of Jacob. So Yaakov says, when that story happens, I don't want my name mentioned. Say the name Shimon, but not further than Shimon. Uber Kahalam, and the Rashi says, what is Yaakov is talking about? The story that happened with Tairach. That was the tribe of Levi. So gathering the tribe of Levi, assembled the whole congregation against Moshe and Aaron. Al Techat Kivedi. My name shall not join them. Don't mix me in that story. As it says, prayed up the son of Yitzhar, the son of Kahas, the son of Levi. And it stops by Levi. It doesn't say the son of Yaakov. It doesn't say the son of Yaakov. So Yaakov says, don't mention me. However, in the lineage of sons of Korach, even regarding the platform later on, when the Torah talks about the lineage of Korach's children, it says only the opposite. It says the son of Korach, the son of Yitzhak, the son of Kahas, the son of Levi, the son of Yisrael, son of Jacob. So Yaakov even says, when they come and make trouble in the future, my name should not be involved in their story. Al Techat Kvedi, Rashi said the honor is a masculine noun. Therefore, you must explain the passage. Jacob is speaking to the honor and saying it. You, my honor should not join them, like you shall not join them in burial. And this is grammar. These are Chamer and the men of Shechem. And all of them are considered as no more than one man. One man, he killed him. One, like it's like all these thousands of people that they murdered, like one person. That's what he calls Ish. One person. And Rashi again brings the proof. We see that the Torah can use a singular word, even though it's talking about many people. With Seinim Akrushar, and with their will, they hamstrung a bull. What does that mean? They wanted to uproot Joseph, who's called later on, you'll see, Yaakov Avinu calls Yosef Shur, a bull. Compares Yosef to the bull. So he said, over here, you wanted to uproot Yosef, who's like a bull. The firstborn of the bull, he has majesty. Now she says, this is, okay, we can continue, there's a grammar. Let's continue. Verse number 7. Cursed is their wrath, for it's mighty. And their anger, because it's harsh. I will separate them throughout Jacob. And I'll scatter them throughout Israel. Interesting Rashi, you'll soon see what he means. Even after time when he's chastising them, he cursed only their wrath. This is the agreement behind what Bilam said, what shall I curse, which God did not curse. So you see, Yaakov Avinu is careful not to curse his children, God forbid. He's cursing their anger. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu comes with the next idea, how to control this. I said, I will separate them. What's Yaakov Avinu said? I will separate them from one another so that Levi will not be numbered amongst the tribes. Hence, they will be separated. We know later on that Levi didn't have a part in Israel. Levi had cities throughout Eretz Yisrael. There was cities of refuge. So later on, God says that the tribe of Levi will not have a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. So the tribe of Levi were given land from within the Jewish people. 42 cities ultimately, you'll learn that in Devarim. And these cities were ultimately cities of refuge. And these are with the tribe of Levi. So that means the tribe of Levi, every tribe lived together. The tribe of Levi was dispersed throughout Israel. Ultimately, it was a good thing because they were a tribe of learned and they were holy Jews. And ultimately, it had effect on all Jews when you had the tribe of Levi in their midst. But that's what Yaakov Avinu says. There's no pauper scribes or teachers of the children except for the tribe of Shimon. Yaakov Avinu says, I'm going to make the tribe of Shimon teachers and scribes. And we all know till today, teachers are not paid the value that they deserve to be paid. It didn't start today. So teachers are always struggling to make a parnasa. And Yaakov Avinu said the tribe of Shimon is going to become teachers, malamdik daidiki, and people are not going to pay them that well. And they're going to be aniyim. They're going to be poor people. Tribe of Levi was made to go around searching for the having an offering and tithing. That's what the tribe of Levi also for. They needed to survive up to Meiser, the tithing. Thus, he caused them to be dispersed and in a respectable way. And ultimately, that's what happened. Ultimately, we do respect the teachers, and we should always respect teachers. But the truth is, they're a struggling group. Sorry. Verse number 8. Yehuda ata yiducha checha. Yehuda, your brothers will acknowledge you. Yadcha be'edef eivecha. Your hand will be upon the nape of your enemies. Ishtachu lecha b'nei avicha, and your father's sons will prostrate to you. Rashi says, since he reproved the first ones, Reuben, Shimon, and Levi, Yehuda started to walk a little backwards. He was getting a little nervous. He said, oh no, 3 already have been given a chelik. 3 have been given a chelik over here. They've been rolled out a little bit. So Yaakov Avinu said, maybe Yehuda said, maybe I'll get out of here. So he started to move a little back. So what happened? So Yehuda said, Yaakov Avinu called him back. No, don't worry. Yehuda did that not to reprove, being involved with Tamar. So Yaakov told him, no, with the words of appeasement, Yehuda, you are not like them. Yehuda was the Baal Tshuva. Your hand will be at the nape of your enemies at the time of David. My enemies you have given me in the back of their necks, as brought on Shmuel. B'nei Avicha, since you were born from many wives, he did not say your mother's sons, after the manner of Isaac. B'nei Avicha, because he had 4 wives. So he said, B'nei Avicha, Menashe Mehaibe. That the tribes have come out, all the 12 tribes have come out not from one woman, came out from 3, 4 women. That's what he said in a more of a not a singular plural. Verse number 9, Gur Yehuda, a cub and a growing lion is Yehuda. Betera b'nei Elisa, from the prey, my son, will you withdraw? Kara Ravas Kari, he crouched and rested like a lion's. Kalavi mi kemena, like a lion who will arouse him. Over here, Rashi says over here, he prophesies about David HaMelech, who was first born like a cub, and Saul was king over us, as you who led Israel out and brought them in. And at the end, a lion, and they made him a lion over, king over them. This is what Onkelos means, his translation, Yehei b'shirisha shilte, shall be a ruler in his beginning. Mitereth, what I suspected you, namely that Joseph was surely been torn up, a wild beast had devoured him. This referred to Yehuda, who's likened like a lion. B'nei Elisa, my son, you withdraw. You withdraw yourself and said, what is the gain if we slew our brother and covered his blood? Similarly, Yehuda withdrew from killing Tamar, and he confessed, she is right. She is right, it is me. Therefore, he crouched and lay down. This was fulfilled in the time of Shlomo HaMelech, when every man under his vine, and the lion, crouched. Yosef Shevet mi Yehuda. Now, the scepter shall not depart from Yehuda. Mechaykim bein Agel, nor the student from the law from between his feet. At ki yaveh Shila, until Shiloh will come, and him, and to him were gatherings of people. This is a very powerful prophecy over here, even Rashi. Simple meaning of the pasuk, I'll see in a minute. But Yosef Shevet min Yehuda, Rashi says, from David and thereafter, these who bear the scepter after the termination of the kingdom are the princes of Babylon, who rule over the people with a scepter and who were appointed by royal mandate. So, meaning that even after the kings have stopped, the Reish Galusa, the leaders of the Jewish people, were from the tribe of Yehuda. The students, these are the princes of the land of Israel. Ad ki yaveh Shila. Will never pass, never go to another tribe until Mashiach comes. And Mashiach is going to be also from Yehuda. This refers to Melech HaMashiach, Shamalucha Shalai, to whom the kingdom belongs to him. And that's what the Untlis translated. The Medrash says, Shailai, a gift to him. And it says they'll bring a gift to him who is feared. The Loi Yikas Amen. Mashiach. Over here, Yaakov Avinu prophesizes the coming of Mashiach, and it's going to come from the tribe of Yehuda. Yikas Amen, a gathering of people. Yikas is the problem of the root, and not a prefix like you're brightly effect. Sometimes the yud is omitted. Many letters are subject to this rule, and they are called the effective roots. When they get past the grammar, so too this too is now meaning a gathering of people in numbers of nations. Mashiach is going to gather not only the Jews, he's going to gather the nations of the world. meaning a number of nations who unite to serve God and join under the banner of King Mashiach. As it says, to him shall the nations inquire. Similarly, it says, the eye that mocked the father and despised the mother, meaning the gatherings of wrinkles on her face due to her old age. And in the Talmud we find, we're sitting in the gathering of assemblies, the streets of Nahardah. EJ could have said the Yikay Samim, since it is a grammar for the Yikay. Rashi is explaining this word, Yikay Samim, the word Yikay. What is the meaning of the word Yikais? Is the naming a person in masculine singular but effective root? Yikais Amen. So the main thing is actually what to prove Yikais Amen means that Mashiach is ultimately going to come out of Yehuda and will be openly a person that will gather in the nations of the world under him. Verse 11, Asiri legefen irai. He binds his fowl to a vine. L'shreke b'nei asenai, and he binds his young donkey. Ibis yain levushay. He launders his garment with wine. But namanam susay, and with the blood of grapes binds his remnant. Rashi says, he prophesies concerning the land of Yehuda, namely that wine will flow like a fountain from it. One Yehudite man will bind one fowl to a vine and load it up in one vine, and from one tendril he will load one young donkey. He prophesied that the vines, right now you can see that actually, that prophecy, great wines are coming out of the Efrat area, Hebron area, coming out great wines in the land of Israel. Shereka, tend a long branch, covers miyayin. All this an expression of abundance of wine. He'll wash his clothes in wine. There'll be such an abundance of wine in his territory that he will wash his clothes in wine. He'll actually do that. Soisa, Susa, his remnants, meaning the word denoting a type of garment, and there'll be none like this, and there's none like this in scripture. Asiri binds according to Asur concept of binding. Okay, that's what they are saying. Translation of Mukas, they shall build his temple. Expression similar to the entrance of the gate. The complete title reads as follows: He, Mashiach, shall bring Israel around to his city. The people shall build the temple. That's the meaning of their saying. He, Onkelos, further translates in another manner the vine referring to the righteous. Ne'af Seiner referring to the one who upholds the Torah by teaching others. The idea expressed in the verse, the riders of white donkeys. He launders with wine. Onkelos renders fine purple shall be his. Mashiach's garments, whose colors resemble wine. Complete Targum reads, fine purple shall be his garments, his remnants fine wool, crimson and clothing crimson and clothing and colorful clothing expression by the word susa, a garment a woman wears to entice a male to cast his eye on her. Our rabbis also explain the Talmud as a term denoting the enticement of drunkenness. Back to the Ksubis. If one says, if you say it that about wine, that it doesn't intoxicate, so it says susa, which means enticement to drunkenness. Rabbis ever render the passions of follows with the blood of grapes that entice. A kid said they're going to have an abundance of wine. It's going to be an enticing place to live. Verse 12, he is red-eyed from wine, and white tooth from milk. Rashi says this is an expression of redness. Tiger remnants is similar who has bloodshot eyes. It's common for those who drink wine to have red eyes. Okay? But he's not only going to have an abundance of wine, he's going to have abundance of milk. Due to the abundance of milk from the Yudah land, there was good pasture for the flock and sheep. This is the meaning of the verse: he shall be red-eyed from the abundance of wine, and it should be white-toothed from the abundance of milk. Point to tiger, however, a name denotes mountains, because from there they can see from far away. Point to the tiger, that means his mountains shall be red with vineyards. Tiger also rendered in a manner expression of fountains and the flow of vats. Tiger reads further, his vats, nevei, shall flow with wine. Interesting. Mountains of Yehuda. Verse 13, Zevulun l'chayf yami yishka. Zevulun will dwell on the coast of the seas. V'hu l'chayf aniyos, and who be at the harbor of the ships. The Yarkis al Tzidin, and his boundary will be Tzidon. Rashi says, his land will be of the seacoast. Targum renders the Sifr borderland. He will constantly frequent the harbor for the ships, the place of ports, with the ships being merchandise. For Zevulun will engage in commerce and provide food for the tribe of Yisachar. And they, the tribe of Yisachar, will engage in Torah study. This is the famous, over here, Yaakov Avinu prophesies, the famous bond that Yehud, Zvulun, and Yisachar will make with each other. That is the meaning of Moshe Rabbeinu says, rejoice, Zvulun, in your going forth, and Yisachar in your tents. So you Zvulun, who were merchants, needed to live near the port. They needed to be near the Haifa, near the ports. And that's why he promised, he said, I'm going to give you the land near the ports. And you're going to be happy because you're going to support Yisachar, who's going to sit and learn. And Zvulun will go forth to engage in commerce. And Yisachar will engage in the Torah, the study of Torah. The end of the boundary will be near Tzidon. Means his end similar to the end of the tabernacle. Verse 14. Yisachar Hamer Goyim Ravitz Bein Hamshusai. Yisachar is a strong boned donkey lying between the boundaries. Rashi says a bony donkey, he bears the yoke of Torah. That's what he meant. Like a strong donkey, which is laden with heavy burden. You are going to carry the burden of Torah. Lying between the boundaries, Rashi said, means like a donkey, which travels day and night and does not lodge in a house. But when it lies down to rest, it lies between the boundaries, and the boundaries of towns where it transports the merchandise. You're going to learn Torah. You're going to go through. You're going to teach the Jews that they can learn Torah in their journeys, in their travels. They don't need to have their Torah is not needed for a specific place, and you don't need to be in a specific kind of situation for learning of Torah. You have to be like a donkey. He saw a resting place that was good. And the land that was pleasant. And he bent his shoulder to bear burdens. And he became an indentured laborer. Rashi says, he saw his territory was blessed and the good land for producing fruit. And he bent his shoulder to bear the burdens of the yoke of Torah. He became for all his brothers, Lamas Avid, to decide for them the instructions that they became the Sanhedrin. They became the Torah scholars. To decide them instruction of the Torah law and the sequence of the leap years As it says in the sons of Yisachar, those who had an understanding of the times, to know what Israel should do. The chiefs with 200. King Yisachar provided 200 heads of Sanhedrin. And their brethren obeyed their word. So Yisachar became the great scholars of the Jewish nation. They accepted that burden of scholarly knowledge. She says, "Vayet Shichmai," he lowered his shoulder, similar to as he bent down the heavens, inclined your ear. Because we rendered a different manner, he bent his shoulder to bear wars and to conquer regions, for they dwelled on the border, and the enemy will be vanquished under him as an intruded labor. Verse number 16, Dan Yadin Amit. Dan will avenge his people. Like one of the tribes of Edom. She says over here, he's prophesying. Dan will avenge his people from the Philistines. When the Lord avenges his people, and when did this happen? Let's see further. Rashi continues. All Israel will be like one with him, and he will avenge them. Concerning Shimshon HaGiber, Samson. He uttered this prophecy. Shimshon HaGiber came from the tribe of Dan. Can also explain Ka'acha Shit Yisrael, like the special ones of the tribes, namely David, who came from Yehuda. That Shimshon will be in his time like David HaMelech. He will bring the Jews together, and he will avenge the Jewish, from the Philistines, he will avenge. Yehi Dan Nachash. Dan is like a serpent on the road, a viper on the path. Who bites the horse's heels. So the rider falls backwards. Actually, this is the snake, as I say, is given a talent because of its bite. This is the habit of a snake. Jacob compares Dan to a snake, which bites a horse's heels and causes the rider to fall backwards, although it does not touch him. We find something similar to the story of Shimshon HaGiber. And Shimshon grasped two pillars in the center. Those on the roof died. But that's what he over here, he's prophesizing what Shimshon is going to do ultimately. That he killed thousands of Philistines with just pushing two stones. Uncle Zed Nachash, the name of spices of a snake who bites, has no antidote. That's a otter. Called Churman because it destroys everything. Uncle Sven the Kanufnia is like a viper, a pisson, and he rendered a yichman, which will lie in the wait. Hashem. For your salvation, I hope, O Lord. As she says, your salvation over here, Yaakov Avinu is talking about again, but Shimshon comes from Dan. Jacob prophesies that the Philistines will gouge out his eyes. And what will Shimshon ultimately say? O Lord, remember me now and strengthen me now, only this once. So the She'asa Kivis Hashem, he prophesied that Shimshon HaGiber will ultimately say, and he was out and down and out because he was in chains and he was blind and his hair was taken off from him. So he betrayed himself in a way. But he asked God, the She'asa Kivis Hashem, now give me my last power and let me do my last act of revenge against the Philistines, what they have done to the Jewish nation. And that's what Yaakov Avinu prophesied thousands of years before. That ends the Chumash for today. So let's go to the Tanya of the day. It's Wednesday, usually it's long of Tanya, long day to hit us today. We're starting chapter 10 of Tanya. I mean, The Rebbe is creating a platform for us in our struggles in life. And as we said, started off the time, this is a book for the Beinanim, the struggles of a Beinani, of the middle person, which we, Halavai Beinani, which we all hope to be a Beinani. Not only hope, we have the capacity of being a Beinani. So Alter Rebbe has established the concept of the struggle between the godly soul and the animalistic soul, which he ended off yesterday, if you remember, that the beauty of it is that even though the animalistic soul comes to you as an entity on its own, has its own power, has its own agenda, but really your animalistic soul wants to lose. And that's a very important concept. Your animalistic soul, my animalistic soul wants to lose. It wants to give in to the godly soul. Because as you mentioned, everybody gains with the winning the challenge, overcoming the challenge. And there's no greater joy when a person overcomes his challenges. And then he realizes the whole purpose of the challenge. The whole purpose of the challenge was to bring out a greater joy and a greater delight in life. And that's why we need a challenge in life. Baruch Hashem, that we have challenges. So it brings out who we are, and it makes us greater, and it makes us stronger. And it shows us ultimately that the challenge was never a challenge. Because there's no such thing as negative, and there's no such thing as evil. The evil is there to prove the greatness of the positive. And the evil wants to give in. The evil, the Nefesh Bahamas, is like we mentioned yesterday, that the Nefesh Bahamas, like the Zaina, that wants to lose and wants to give in. The Zaina wants to lose. And that's a very powerful concept Alter Rebbe has laid down for us. And I hope you understand what Alter Rebbe really wants to tell us. But the Alter Rebbe continues, because we can say whatever you want in our intellect. The question is, do we truly comprehend it? So until we realize that and we overcome the challenge, we're in the challenge. We're in the battle. Life is a battle. No way. The battle of the godly soul and the animalistic soul is an inner battle. And the truth is that every outer battle comes from an inner battle. If we overcome our inner battle, we wouldn't have any outer battles. It's our inner battle. It's all in our mind. It's in our heart. It's a struggle of the mind and the heart. It's a struggle of the godly soul and the animalistic soul. Now, one might think, why do I need this battle? Why do I constantly need this battle? And now Alter Rebbe explained to us that not only you shouldn't think that not only you have a battle, every one of it, even a tzaddik has a battle. And this is something that's unbelievable, beautiful concept in time. So after elaborating in the previous chapter on the ongoing battle between the divine and the animal soul of the mastery of a Jewish body, Alter Rebbe now proceeds to explain that one who vanquishes his animal soul and transforms its evil into good is a tzaddik. Right? That will be the ultimate aspect. This level of tzaddik comprises of two general categories. The perfect tzaddik, who's called a tzaddik who is known only good, and he's who has transformed all the evil of his animal soul to good, while he who is not a complete tzaddik, and he has not converted the evil within him and turned the imperfect tzaddik. A tzaddik who knows and possesses some vestige of evil. Remember, you learned at the beginning of Tanya. The tzaddik gomer, the tzaddik she'ein gomer. Complete tzaddik and incomplete tzaddik. Difference between the two sets of these terms, complete and incomplete tzaddik, and a tzaddik who knows only good, or one who knows evil, is as follows. 4% describes the degree of a tzaddik love of God, for his love that earns him the title tzaddik. In the case of a complete tzaddik, it's complete and perfect love, while the love of an incomplete tzaddik is imperfect. The latter set of terms refers to the conversion of the animal's soul's evil to good. Individual whom has been entirely transformed is termed a tzaddik who knows only good. The one whose visage of evil remains is termed a tzaddik who knows. And we'll explain this in detail. It goes without saying that evil in this context refers to only the promoting of evil that may be harboring in the heart. We're not talking about a person doing evil. Then he's a Rasha. It means that in the heart. Talk about he has evil in his heart. Of course, to actual evil expressed in thought, speech, and action. Not talk about that. Because if he does actually thought, speech, and action, then he's a Rasha. But talk about a person that has the capability, the possibility, the potential of evil. So let's go to the time. When a person causes his divine soul to prevail over his animal soul, and he waged the war against the animal soul to the extent till to the situation which he got rid of his animal soul from the left side of his heart. As it says, you shall eradicate evil from your midst, which implies that one ought to eradicate evil within him. That's really what the Torah wants. That's what your godly soul wants. A person who has, in fact, eradicated evil from his heart has not yet banished the external particular expression of evil, evil thoughts, words, or actions, but eradicated the evil itself. It has no place in his heart. He no longer desires evil. The problem was, as one who achieves this goal, but finds that evil has not nevertheless actually been converted into good. In which case, his entire capacity for desire would not be directed only towards good and holiness, since with him, this is not the case. He just pushed it aside. He just doesn't want to deal with it. He didn't transform evil, he just knocked it out. He just pushed it away from him. Nikra tzaddik sheina gomer. That is not a complete tzaddik. A tzaddik gomer means a person who transformed this evil. He's not only that he doesn't do evil because he doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't have anything to do. He has transformed evil. He has transformed any evil, we're talking within him, not in the world. He has transformed evil within him to totally good. Everything is good. It's tzaddik v'dali. He's also called a tzaddik who knows evil. Why? Meaning, because he still has evil. He doesn't do it. He not only doesn't do it, he doesn't have to deal with it. He says, I have nothing to do with this guy, with this evil thing. But did I change him? No. I just have nothing to do with it. And I'm so much I have nothing to do with it, like I put it to sleep. I put my evil in a coma. So they're saying. Except there's no expression. His evil has no expression. Not even evil desires. Because the evil, by reason of minuteness, is subjugated and nullified to the good. So it's passionate like a stimming, like sleeping. Therefore, the tzaddik might think he got rid of evil. He didn't get rid of it. So he might think, maybe I have no evil. Because my evil basically is out. But in truth is, the evil has not departed. And it has not disappeared. Because I'm sorry. In truth, if he got rid of evil, it would have converted to actually good. This requires explanation. Perhaps the incomplete tzaddik feels no desire for evil because he indeed no longer has any evil, having converted to good. Why must we say that he only imagines himself to altogether free of evil? It explains the Alter Rebbe continues with the clarification of a complete tzaddik. Explanation in brief. As stated in the previous chapter, the complete tzaddik is able to convert his evil to good only by a dint of his great love of God, a love known as the love of the light. Accordingly, the incomplete tzaddik, who has not yet attained to a lofty level of love, has obviously not accomplished this conversion. And that's the secret over here. Secret is how much love does he have? And from the love, you can see how much evil he has. And the truth is, this thing we can see in our own lives. Love of the light, then, is the ultimate criteria in which a tzaddik stands in eradicating of his evil. Alter Rebbe's words. Here, in the expression is found, tzaddik gamosh nepachadash leiltei. The complete tzaddik is whom the evil has been converted into good. Ulachein and nikra tzaddik v'teva, and that's why it's called the tzaddik v'teva. Why the asara sabagoyim atzayim has attained this level by completely removing his filthy garments. This means, and listen to the words of Alter Rebbe because this is very high. He despises utterly the tainugay elam hazeh, with the pleasures of this world. To derive from that pleasure with people derive from. He has pashut, simply no pleasure in this world. Interesting because, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was the wealthiest Jew in his time. The Gemara says how wealthy he was. Ultimately, before he died, he picked up his finger to heaven. He said, God is my witness. I had no enjoyment from this world. It doesn't mean that he didn't have wealth. Unbelievable. He had no. We don't understand what that means. It's hard for us to comprehend. Because Rabbi Yehuda Nasi did everything for the sake of heaven. All his wealth and all his power was not for anything personal. He had no personal agenda. A tzaddik doesn't have a personal agenda. It's like the Tanya out the Zohar explains that the Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were like a merkava. They were charity of God. They didn't have a personal agenda. That's how you to imagine a tzaddik. A tzaddik, gomer, a complete tzaddik, is a person who doesn't have a personal agenda, has no self, he doesn't have a selfish bone in his body. Physical pleasure dictates to serving God and the fact of holy meaning, the pleasure of enjoyment of Shabbat with food and drink. So he did eat and drink, and he had the Yehuda Nasi had the wealthy table. Gemara says had the delicacies, but it was all for a mitzvah. No personal gain. It is not such pleasure, that repugnance to the tzaddik, but the pleasure for the sake of self-indulgence. No, a selfless individual. A godly, selfless individual. That's why there can be 36 kind of people like that in this world, maybe. Most of them are hidden. You don't even know about them. He despises such pleasure because he knows that they derive from, receive their spiritual sustenance from klippa and sitracha. The very antithetical, a tzaddik gomer only thinks about God. There's no need of anything in this world. Kol mashu misitra, and anything that is from the other side, complete tzaddik utterly hates. Whatever is for this, he hates. Machaz godel ava Hashem, because of his great love and profuse love of delight and a superior degree of affection for God and his holiness, as mentioned. So in chapter 9, the Alter Rebbe explains that the love of the light is the ultimate level of love of God. To resume, because of tzaddik's great love of godliness and holiness, he utterly hates klippins. He hames zel umazeh, because since they, the holiness and klippa, are antithetical. His love of God therefore evokes a commensurate degree of hatred for the opposite. As David HaMelech said, "K'dasiv tachlis in nisanesim." I hate them with consuming hate. La'oivim ayuli. King David says, I hate with the ultimate hate those who hate God. They become enemies to me. Search me, he says to God, and know my heart. This means by searching me and knowing how great is the love of your born in my heart, you will know how great my hatred towards your enemies. For as stated, love is the measure of hate. So because he loved the Eibishter, that's why he busted by him. He gets sick of something that's the opposite of God. This is an interesting concept. And according to the abundance of love towards God, so is the extent of hatred toward the spiritual sitracha, which nurtures the physical pleasure and the utterly repugnant of evil of physical pleasures. Since sitracha is a spiritual and hence a distant from physical man, the term hatred is appropriate to it. With regard to evil of physical pleasures, which are closer to man, the term repugnant is applicable. The repugnance of having something others placed before one's very eyes. To me, it's an example. I always give this example, to me at least, that when you're sitting at a table, you're eating, and suddenly you see a cockroach walk in front of you, you become repugnant. Suddenly you cannot eat the food. That's what happens to a tzaddik. He becomes repugnant. The things that are opposite of godliness, the things that are antithesis of godliness, the things to whether the hatred, whether the evil.
We miss that table. In the upshot, I think that's nicht vermittelt.
I'm giving that's on Facebook.
He says if she had something, you know what it was. That's what it came. She's doing him a favor. He said, I'll be here.
Give me 2 minutes. I'm almost done.
2 minutes?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Mias, Hava, Mamish for repugnance is as much the exact opposite of love is to hatred. In any event, to establish a tzaddik utterly despisal of evil is predicted by his loving God to a greatest degree. He's therefore called a complete tzaddik. He's therefore called because since the quality by virtue of which he is termed a tzaddik is his love of God, is on the highest and most complete level. He's also called a tzaddik who knows only good. He possesses only good, having transformed all evil within him to good. Hence, a complete tzaddik, which loves the light, is imperfect, must also be lacking in his hatred of evil. This turn indicates that he retains some vestige of evil, albeit unfelt. He's therefore called a tzaddik who knows evil. Tzaddik for God. That means if I don't hate evil, if evil does not disgust me, that means that there's some aspect of evil in me. I can handle evil for some reason. Tzaddik she'ena gomer or she'ena sina sitrach v'taras sina. Incomplete tzaddik who does not hate sitrach, spiritual purpose, the absolute hatred. Therefore, he doesn't find evil, physical desires, and pleasure absolutely repugnant. And as long as his hatred is an abhorrence of evil is not absolute, so he must say he loves it a little bit. And he's not taken away the filthy garments which the animal soul has been clothed, meaning explained above, the evil inclination, the lusting after worldly pleasure, are obviously not completely shed from. Therefore, he is not transformed evil into good. Since he still has some kind of connection. Except that the vicious of evil is it cannot be expressed itself in an evil desire, because the evil is nullified in the good by the reason of the minuteness and accounting as nothing. I mean, the overwhelming predominance of good prevents the evil from becoming sensed and finding expression. And that's why it's called a tzaddik that has bad tail. That kafel of a butler, the tzaddik, whose evil is subjugated and surrendered to the good within. Since a tzaddik is identified with good, since he's overwhelming good, and that's why his love of God is not also complete. That's why he's called an incomplete tzaddik. So in essence, there's very few tzaddikim in the world, complete tzaddikim. There might be a lot of tzaddikim she'ein gemurim in the world, but a tzaddik gomer is very few. We will continue. Today is the 11th day of the month. Tehillim is chapter 60 to chapter 65. And Midshem, do that, you do the chitzah today, and we'll Midshem continue tomorrow. I wish you a wonderful day. I gotta go.